we go.
I got some here, it says no, does not need signs.
Yeah, it'd be just, that's it, this.
And got stamped, 5 copies got stamped, but only 3 copies needed.
All right.
So instead of making you guys pass around 5
Thank
times.
you.
So I would move that we approve the bills of May the 30th, totaling $374, $382.58, and the June 13th bills of $975, $005, $09.
Do we have support?
Or,
I'd like a little bit of
Sure.
review them, please.
I see we got truck trailer specialties, is that for the 2 new trucks? Or
That's for one of them.
for one of them?
They sent the invoices separately. We've got the second one now. We got 2 trucks. I'll go through that.
Okay.
But yes, that's for.
Ready? All in favor, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same. Motion
I have a question that has to do with the bill. This one copy, difficult to read. Is something wrong with the printer? Different paper? Or is mine the only one that's like that?
no,
Mine
they're all,
never
yep. I wonder if they made copies versus printed
It
copies.
was, that's why all of them were stamped and not
carried.
unprinted.
Close.
But even a copy shouldn't, I mean, if the printer's working well, shouldn't be that cloudy.
Oh.
But
Mine was that big. This is a good one. This is a bad one. I know, I see what you mean now, Jerry.
Shouldn't we have EFTFs with these?
Yeah, that's coming.
What is it?
You gotta be running out.
And then the payroll too, I think.
Alright, here's project.
We haven't passed the payroll yet.
No, I
Oh,
don't,
that's right, we know.
then I signed it and passed it on.
Oh, was there a payroll yet?
I think this one's all done, Mark, or Mike, rather.
I haven't signed it.
Okay, all right.
Alright. Next is payroll. June sixth, total, 117,491.01.
So moved.
Support?
Any questions? If not, all in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same. Motion. That's just one. Thank you. Treasurer's report.
The beginning cash and investment balance was $3,411,440.67. Total receipts was $1,080,951.60. Total in bills and payroll was $1,466,879.18. Bond and escrow is $10,250. CD reserved for 2 trucks is $645,831.82. Ending available fund balance is $2,369,431.27. Outstanding accounts payable is a negative $1,239.15.
Any questions? If not, we stand as presented. Thank you. Public comment? Yeah,
I'm not complaining,
that'll be a first.
but the road commission mowing guy in Reading Township is doing a very good job. And, it's a lot better than normal. I don't know why, but he's really doing a good job, but I thought I should bring this to your attention. And this isn't your fault, but these signs are all over our county, and they're very low. And they're at every stop sign and throughout the county, and they get covered up with grass. Your mowing guy can't see them. So what happens is he runs them over. And this, I don't blame him. When I seen this happening on Monday, I tried to get ahead of him, and you talk about mowing fast, this guy is moving good. I got ahead of him, and I pulled every sign, I'll probably go to jail for this. Every sign west of 49 from Cole Road all the way down to Montgomery. Took me over 2 hours. I have a truckload of these if anybody wants them.
Wow.
I called this company, and they said it was out of Battle Creek, and it's fiber optic. And I gave them my address, and they said, well, you better stick with Spectrum. And I asked them, I said, are you aware of DMCI? They didn't even know who DMCI is. These signs are all over Indiana. I went to Shipshewana this week. They're all over. And the mowing guy did not knock down not one not one political sign, not one construction sign, but he can't see these.
They're really
So-
low.
I just wanna let you know that,
I've seen them around too, and they're really low.
yeah.
If you would like, you can bring them into us, cause normally if we were to pull a sign like that in the right of way, we hold them for
I have a truck
30
load.
to 60
I
days.
have more at home.
Then we'll hold them right here and then we dispose of them after like 60 days.
Okay, where would you like me to put them?
Who should he
I gotta
see?
answer that, don't I?
Yeah, I was gonna say, don't answer that.
Give it Kevin, and
Okay,
we'll probably out there by the salt barn, the old salt barn.
okay, thank you.
Is there something EPA can do about that, plastic pollution?
I called the MCI because I didn't get the internet at my house, but everyone on my road did. I'm on the next map. They said something to the sorts of, there's another company that's basically butthurt because they're doing all of this, internet. And so they have to make it known that they're available and have the offering too. But that's excessive, that's
Yeah,
ridiculous.
it's way
And
excessive.
I think it's pretty, I think it'd be very, I think it would be good of you guys to make contact with them because it will mess up your equipment. And they should have the same 33 foot as everybody else. That's just my thoughts.
Well, not to
Right.
mention that's out there laying in the sun's breaking it down, and that's where the microplastic pollution is coming from, getting in our groundwater.
They're also staying
Pollution,
home to the utility poles, and I know that, so.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Well, and I'm trying to think that just because they're desperate for service, that the MCI is putting in cable and all of a sudden now I mean, who watches that? You know, somebody should.
I'm a member
Right there
of
is
the
your
Organic Growers Association, they do a lot of research and I get information a lot, and according to their research, every human in the United States
They're all what my-
has plastic contamination in its body. Somewhere in your body you have plastic, just from ingesting it.
I'll go run one over and wreck my mower and we'll see how that works out. I mean, I could use a new mower, let's just be honest. I
Well,
did
the
say
other
it.
potential problem is, okay, let's say if our mower hits the thing and tears the metal apart, you know, you risk getting a flat tire. Somebody risks getting a flat tire out of that.
we,
I'm gonna say one more thing, my brother was mowing up north and hit a rock. And it shot through a lady's, this is no joke, shot through her window and hit her in the head. Now, who's at fault on that? I'm just saying if this does,
Right.
obviously he dealt with it and she was okay, but at the thought of one of those metal pieces, are you at fault or is the sign company at fault? Think about that.
well, probably nobody in here knows this, but years ago, a lady was killed by our mower. A piece of metal was shot through her heart. She was coming down to tell the mower that she had put rocks around the culvert. Well, he hadn't even got to the culvert yet, there was a piece of metal laying in the mower through it. And so, yeah, it's serious. You get one of those wires thrown.
I remember that, it was like
I remember.
70s or 80s, wasn't it?
No, it was in
No,
the
it was-
90s.
Yeah, I remember that.
So, yes, that makes me nervous when there's stuff like that out there. Okay, anything else? Anybody else? Yeah, Bob?
Thanks. One to, Bob, thank you, at least addressing what I was looking at on US 12. You were mentioning earlier whether or not getting paid, the maintenance on the side of US 12 is done, I believe, by MDOT, by debt service. And other than the county is not. I would say, in a way, we're talking about millages, and millages are gonna come up pretty harshly this next year, or at the end of this year, actually. I think we're gonna be fascinated by dollars that no one has. And I think, you know, if we don't buck a little bit and say, if it's gonna go to a township to say, look, we gotta mow these, and you guys find a way, you know, to instigate that, and not to say it's promising, it's just an idea, that the township is now being measured out also with the new, what do you call it, the LRS, if you will, the new transfer station stuff. So if they pass that buck also on to us, that means mandated by the governor. That means we're gonna have problems with a new millage, a new dollar, a new supervisor, a new manager. That's gonna be troublesome. So I'm gonna say lightly said to a township, as what we have here, one of the supervisors, to see what they themselves in their own township, could find, that would be, as they used to do, a farmer would come down and just do, whatever. And I thought that was appropriate and not any harm done, but again, we do have to look at insurance or, expectations of problems that might exist. I don't know enough about it. I need to kind of look into it myself. But I was very pleased with what Bob here brought to my attention. I'm going to say along US 12, there was some issues I wanted, to be addressed, and it was within, don't want to say within hours, but definitely it was brought and taken care of. I mean, it is somewhat detrimental to see some of our erosion that's on the side of the road where the Kent curbing is at, and it's got to be taken a better look at once we are talking about expansion on the side of the road. US 12 has, as we would look down there by Somerset, we have that full 5, extra 5, or whatever you want to call it, footage on the side, but they're trying to see how much that value and cost would be. I would like to see if we couldn't make sure that we have that extension when the next time or the roads are getting done. The other is I'm looking at what the emulsion is that's being addressed as far as what the content on the stone, the application. When they said you can put down your, what do you call it, the coal patch, or you can put down stone. Again, the 52 degree in weather, I mean, it became, you can't put this stuff down below that. So all I'm saying is, what do we have to look forward to in the very near future? September is going to be on us, and temperatures may very well be still good, but are we going to be able to get everything out of the way before that time so that we aren't going to just run into the weather pattern, which means this stuff doesn't stick? I'm just, my concern was pretty much there. The other is, I guess, in some ways, Bob, to the management, just a few people were asking, I've been visiting a couple of townships and wanted to have, again, not to go back and reiterate, to try to get an examination of, but for what papers you had given to me, what was good, but at the same time, was they were looking for their breakdown. That was concerning, the new raised dollars that was done where, they had, I don't know, up to $90,000 value and so on like this. So I was trying to get them to call, because I'm not there with that stuff. It's just not my game plan. But right now I'm still trying to learn a little bit about computers, because I have elected to say if I cannot, I don't belong more or less here. I need something, very stable, and my concern is that my frustrations with the computer doesn't make me a value, but I've always been a hands-on individual. Bob, me back in, from the early teens, that I go out and I fight you all the time on something. I want to say and voice it, and I'm out there hands-on anything. I'm not saying recommended that we have to be hands-on, but I think that when we have, commissioners that are out there to each one of these townships, the observance of any of these various roads, doesn't matter whether it's actually the one they spoke about, but some of those roads, I think it was Watson that's down there in Reading, it's, the trees are right on the very side of the road. And we looked at that some time back, thinking it would best not to cut those. Somebody else thought it was just a better to leave it as a trail, more or less, not really something that would be taken care of by the county, and I don't know how that could be addressed. But that's just one of those areas that I'm gonna say I wanted to look at and see if, that couldn't be left on, like a tractor trail, if you will. But yeah, I know it exists, just that the trees that are on that side of the road are right on the side of the road. And that is somewhat of a no-no, because they have to be cut. And so if we don't see what we can do about that, making that townships responsible or having, then maybe we can just avoid have that, at all being taken care of. So anyway, that was my bit for the day. So I thank you guys.
Thanks, Bob. Yeah.
I'd like to get back to mowing on the side of the road. I thought about this months ago, but why can't we ask for help from the local community? Just let them know that it's okay to go out there and mow the property, because they're probably thinking, oh, we can't do that, it's road commission's responsibility, we can get in trouble. Radio will put it out free on public service announcements, just make like a running ad.
We've actually got a farmer down in the southern eastern part of our county that he mows every mile that he rents the farm ground.
Mhm.
The ditches, that's a buck a mile.
Yeah,
Mows
Some of
every
it-
mile.
I mow as much as I can, right now I'm working on the rest of the ditch with weed whip, right up to the edge of the road, but it's.
I mow all mine
Screaming
up
at
to
me, I can't do much.
the edge of the road too, but not everybody does.
We can look at putting out on social media and stuff to say, hey, you know, it is okay to,
Yeah, I'm just wondering if that would help.
we can try.
We try.
Can't hurt it.
Yeah, it can't
Where's the
hurt.
liability in that? Who would be responsible?
For what?
If they're mowing and they hit somebody, they're responsible?
It's their property.
It's no different if you're mowing your yard than,
Yeah, my property touches all the way to the center of the road, I found a monument in the road the other day. There it is.
most of them do.
And don't throw the grass out in the road.
Yeah, that.
Yeah, that's
irritates me.
Oh, I always did that, no.
That really,
I hit that grass
I
on a
didn't know.
motorcycle once, it was pretty fun.
Yeah, that's not a,
About that big in the side of my truck where a guy was mowing, throw a rock, and hit my truck.
Yeah. I had a guy take my window out on my minivan, mowing, pointing in the wrong direction. Big old side window, shattered.
Bob, just one last thing.
Yes.
I went to the Allen Township meeting on whatever day this week, and, few concerns. Mr. Parney was there. They brought it to his attention that at Kronk and Weston Road, it's at least a foot deep now.
foot deep, what?
Ken said you and him did a drive-by of it, I believe. Maybe you'll remember, just check it out. It's at the corner of Kronk and Weston Road. It's where it kind of comes down a little bit. And
Pothole or washout or?
it's a washout.
Okay.
Yeah, it's bigger than a pothole at this,
Okay,
I mean,
I turned it in this morning.
okay.
oh, thank you, good, because I just wanted to say it. And then at, Reading, right before Wildwood, where that big dip is, it's a big dip. There's a good 1.5 drop off right at the edge of the road, and the road's crumbling, so somehow if you can get that filled in, and, you know, the lines aren't real easy to see, it's hard, but check that out too, please.
Okay.
Thank you.
anybody else? Alrighty. Manager's comment.
Well, they addressed all my stuff, so.
I got something to address. I see we're doing something with the shoulders now.
Yeah.
I'm
Mine
impressed.
too.
I'm impressed.
Is that down in your township? I haven't seen them.
No, not mine, that's what I was trying to figure out.
I saw a lot yesterday on my motorcycle.
Yeah, there's
They have, but mine,
Yeah.
there's a few, they did one side, the other side's bad. Just have them look at the others, I mean, if
They
they're
just haven't
there,
got there yet.
oh, they'll go all the way around.
It's a metal truck
That's
that he's
okay.
trying to
Got a
do.
truck and got over yesterday.
I just was thinking if they were there, they'd maybe,
I see
but that'd be
territorial.
dangerous for out there, that makes
Oh, yeah, they
sense,
can't
but
go, yeah.
I saw a lot of roads that were done.
Good,
They
good,
got a
good.
lot to do.
Yes, I'm
Yeah,
glad
we
to
have
see
a
they're
lot
out
of
there
roads.
working.
Yeah.
That's
So
good.
there's one or two particular ones that have a belt on the back that they can belt the dirt, gravel off, and then they can blade it off and roll it in. So they can only kind of do like they can do one side at a time.
Yeah.
And then when they get that done, they can come back the other way, or they're kind of making their way around,
What do we
especially
got?
the complaints.
What do you got? The one on the back end of the truck, and you got the one for the front end of the grader, don't you? For
Well, that one,
doing shoulder?
yes, but it won't work on our new graders.
No,
It's too heavy.
You gotta have a different.
So we
I
modified it.
forgot about that.
We modified it to work on a loader, so when we get done with the scraping and stuff, we should be able to do a little bit more of it using that one. And right now, all the trucks are,
The cat graders would pick it up, but the John Deere won't.
so, like, the two belt trucks are trying to get out there and do that, as much as they can, so.
Nice.
And this is kind of back to Commissioner Parney, you submitted a work request to have a sign replaced at the country club at
Yes.
Tuscaloosa.
Mhm.
Being that's a private drive coming onto a road.
Yeah.
They've got like an old faded sign. If it wasn't for the triangle, you wouldn't know it's a yield sign.
Right, exactly.
That can't be a yield sign there. It's gotta, if there's anything there at all, it needs to be a stop sign.
Okay.
State law says you gotta stop before entering a certified road. Whether it's a driveway or whatever, if they would like to buy a stop sign, I'm sure we can do up a thing to sell them a stop sign, they can put it on their post.
All right,
but I won't sell them the yield sign,
all right.
cause
So
that
it can't be.
shouldn't be.
All right.
While we're talking about signs, the parks asked for some signs for their trails.
Mm-hmm.
And so we're still I kinda got an estimate for if we were to make them, which can get a little expensive with our guys' time. I've also got an estimate coming from Dornbos to say, hey, if we want these signs, what it cost. So I haven't got that back yet, but just ours, we're probably talking about $750. So I'm sure Dornbos will be in that general area, but we'll have to see which one's better for them if they wanna go with that. But that's like trail 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5 on 2 different parks, and there's like 13 or 14 signs. And he was just asking for a 12 by 18 green and white, you know, kind of like would be a road sign with trail number 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, whatever it is on it. So that's what those are. Let's see. We finally got an arrangement with the Boy Scouts for the easement that we need for the territorial road bridges. It was within my pen authority, so I told them to go ahead and go with it. They counter offered with $2,000, and I said, yes, go, we'll
Close this deal.
do it. So they're marking it off, they're all good with it. As long as you're okay with it, I waited to sign it but the Boy Scouts have already signed it, and on a $1.2 or $3 million bridge, 2,000 will
That's
get
right.
it out of the way and get it going.
And everybody's happy.
And everybody will be happy. And just so you know, I guess I'll add that bridge, what'd be the west bridge, the deck's on. Really, all they gotta do is put the approaches and pave. The other one, the east bridge, they should be pouring anytime. At that point, they're still on track to be the end of June, 1st of July
Perfect.
timeframe to open those back up. Probably right now, they're down there, Kevin and Heather are down there on Territorial Road with Eagle and John Scabina looking at that tube that's needs to be replaced.
Just east of Bird Lake Road.
So hopefully he gives us the go ahead to say what we can put in there, and we get that done. So we're not opening and closing roads all the time, we try to get it done before we open the roads up for the bridges.
Right.
So they're working on that right now, he seems to be good to work with right now.
Today.
I don't want to knock on wood there, but,
Just a question with regarding that particular project. Any idea how long, you know, from start to finish, once we get the tube on hand? Can we do it
once
in
we
a
get
week?
the tube, that, a day or two. There was not much to actually put the
Relatively
tube
short
in.
time frame, yeah.
It's more of him approving what size we can put in. Once we know what size, we probably have it on hand. So I don't believe it's a huge tube, it's a standard tube, but.
Because you may not be aware of this, but that road is heavily traveled on weekends.
Right.
And so hopefully, you know, we could stay away from a holiday weekend, for example.
Sure.
When we do that. And
Like I said, it'll only take a day or two max to do it, so we'll do it in the middle of the week and.
that'd be great.
I told Kevin this morning, he said he was meeting with John.
Mhm.
I said, just kind of discreetly ask him about Elm Road.
Yeah.
We know it's hydraulics, but how long does it take to do hydraulics?
Well, we went out a week or so ago and sent the swing arm mowers and the grade all to clear brush and everything around it, so that Charlie could have some guys come down and take extra, she needed more shots, so we just cleared the whole thing out. And so he took the shots she wanted and a bunch of extra shots, just in case she asked for them later. Sent them all to her, so hopefully that gets that
That'll be
rolling.
done.
Yeah. I got a feeling well, I don't know, I guess, but hopefully we can go two, but we'll see.
Do what?
Go with the two.
That's what he's hoping.
If he allows us with the hydraulics, I think it'll
Which one
work.
road?
Elm.
Elm Road.
Well, the railroad bridge. is
The railroad chokes it down, so that
restricting the
helps.
flow to
Good,
us.
so-
Yeah.
Frank asked me about it again this past week, so.
Yep.
So while they were talking to him, they also, I gave him a sheet that Charlie gave me yesterday. He emailed it to Scavina, on Hog Creek, which is all the diagrams and everything from Trend Timber Bridge to say, you know, this is the old structure, what it is, this is the new structure, how it sits and everything. And so as long as they, again, approve that, which they already have basically said, as long as it's in kind, so that's pushing that through too.
We haven't received that
However-
timber bridge yet.
Oh, no, that's still a little bit, it's probably not gonna get in before school though. It depends on, well, cause it takes 16 weeks from the approval to get the bridge done and package it and bring it here. And now they're talking right at the end of August, maybe the first week of September. Well, we should have it at the end of August, and it'll take us a week or two to put it in, which I'm then saying mid-September. I was hoping to get it in mid-August so that
Right.
the school wouldn't have to worry about it and stuff, but it's looking, we'll get it as soon as we can, but it's looking a little bit longer than what we planned.
Too much of a delay.
We seem to have a lot of delays, which brings me to my next one.
Uh-oh.
Heather's been doing great, closing up a bunch of stuff that was like last year's Camden Road project and Montgomery Road, still had to get closed out with MDOT, and so she's been working on all the final documents and figures and everything, and we got that, those are all submitted and closed. The Camden Road project for this year is in a delay, and we're waiting on the NEPA clearances for, and that's that area from Pittsburgh to Trip Road. That probably won't make it until the mid-August letting, which means the contractor could get it in, whoever's awarded, they could get it in and get it done. But if we mandate that it's done like by the 1st of November to make sure it gets done this year,
Cost us a lot.
price is gonna go through the roof, because they're not gonna be able to guarantee, and if they have to, it's gonna cost us.
Right.
So basically what we're gonna do is submit saying that it has to be completed through June of 25. Now, that's not saying that they'll take that long, and if they can get it in, they will, but your prices will be better if they know they can,
Chop you around.
and all of a sudden they get a good time period or something, they can get it in, they will. But at the bid letting, it'll be to be completed by June 25.
Yeah, cause that late, they would really up the price if you put a deadline on it.
So what's this NEPA stuff?
Okay, so we got NEPA and SHPO that we have to deal with when we're doing anything like this. So NEPA is basically all your environmental. Is there invasive species, or not invasive, but endangered species? Is there, things like that in the area that we've got to be careful of? The SHPO is historical. So you can't build a road on top of a ancient burial ground, or if there's something there. So they've got to go in and do the inspections to see, is there endangered species, is there historical things that are there. Once they give you those clearances, then you can move on. If you don't get the clearances and there's something there, then you've got to do something to
Remediate.
yes. So
Does every state have these, or just
Yes.
Michigan?
yeah, those are national.
I think before anybody was on the board, we had to close the road because of snakes.
Oh yeah,
We couldn't build the bridge, Sellers Road.
Masaki rattlesnakes.
Bats.
Yeah, they're not only there, rattlesnakes. We used to own Glendale Downs, and I was out walking the fence row way back, and I came up on a rattlesnake in the stone pile. And I was, ooh, I backed up real slowly.
So anyway, that's one of the things Heather's been working on amongst other things. She's gonna, so that some of this doesn't delay us in the future, she's gonna make sure all these clearances, like all the projects that we're planning for, that she'll be doing the clearances well in advance and not trying to do it at the time of the bid letting or whatever. We can get these clearances done just knowing, hey, we want to do something in this area, and so she'll be working on that in the future. We got myself Mark Seeley and Heather are all certified to do pager ratings. So we started our pager ratings this week. We got half of the federal aid system done. And by the TAMC standards, we have to do half of the federal aid system each year. So what we did is we did the half. It's gonna all get done this year. Every road in the county we're gonna rate this year, but we did the half that wasn't required this year by ourselves, and we rated that. We're scheduling with Region 2 and MDOT because they've gotta go along on the half that is required this year, so then we'll do that half. And that'll get the entire federal aid system done. And then in between or after that, we're gonna go out and do the local roads, primary and local. And then after that, we've gotta go through and do all the gravel roads, which has their own rating scale now. But all three of us are certified, so we can, other than we have to go with Region 2 and MDOT on half of the federal aid, we can take care of it all ourselves, and we'll get all new info so that when we talk to the townships or even TAMC, we'll have all that data for all our roads.
Have we ever rated gravel roads before?
No.
That's what I thought.
It's a new rating system that they've come up with, and it's basically a good fair pour, and it has nothing to do with the surface of the road. You can always grade a gravel road and bring it back to a smooth road. What it has to do with is the width of the road, the drainage, the bank slopes coming into it, it's the structure of the road. And depending on how wide it is, like, is it 1 car wide? It's gonna be a pour. If you look down a gravel road and you see like 3 wheel tracks there, that's where 2 cars are using that same center line, that's gonna be a fair. And if you get all 4 tracks where 2 cars can pass easily, basically, and you got the ditches and stuff in place, that'll be a good. So, that's what the basics is, but that's a little more to it, but that's, so we'll be rating those 2. That'll be the first time those get rated.
Do you think you'll get that done this year?
Plan on it. We did half of the federal aid in 2 days. It took us about 6 to 7 hours each day. And we drove all the roads.
Okay, good, I'm glad to hear that.
It takes a little time.
Yeah.
It's me, Heather, and Mark that have to do it.
But like you said, we've got a basis now
Yes.
to present.
And ideally, we'll do this every year. From here on out, we'll rate every road.
And don't you have to have 2 people in a car at a time, no matter what?
Technically, other than the federal aid that has to get done, that has to have 2 people and people from different agencies. That's why MDOT and Region 2 have to be part of it. The rest we can do it with 1 person. Larry Brown did it when he was here on half of the federal aid that wasn't required. And
That wasn't correct.
one person can do it, but it's preferable to have 2, and you make up your mind as to what that road is. And but we had 3, so we'll try to use 3 anytime we can. All right, let's see. For our paving, we finished Bankers Road between M49 and the Branch County line. There's one section that they had an issue with, the trailer didn't hook up to the paver good, and there's 2 bumps in it, and we're gonna try to go back out with an infrared heater and heat that up and smooth it back out and see what we can do with that. Other than that, I think it rides pretty good.
I thought
And hopefully within a year or 2, we can go out there and chip seal it. I don't know if we're gonna get it done this year. Katie's gonna give me a stink eye. But, if we can seal it, that'll help prolong that one. And I guess just kind of a gee whiz knowledge, while we were rating those roads, the computer tells us what it was rated in the past, what was done to it in the past. And so it would say like, we had a couple roads specifically that says like, it was overlaid in 2018, it was chip sealed in 2020 or 2021, or shortly thereafter. And a few of those roads are still a 7 or 8 now because it got chip sealed not too far after it was paved. And they've held up great, so that just proves that, preserving it with that chip seal extends the life a lot, actually.
And what's the estimated cost for a mile of chip seal?
I think we're using about 42,000 as the estimate right now.
Why isn't it that you pave the road, you don't go right in and start chips in them.
You can, it's money, it's what it comes down to.
I know, Mr. Green.
Yeah, and that'll be part of my thing here in a minute.
Okay.
So anyway, they got the Bankers Road done, they're working on, North Adams Road between Millens and,
Village limits.
and Village, yeah. They got quite a bit of it done, but they're having to go in and do a wedge, which you've got a lot of spots where the road will do this little dip. And so they wedge that in to fill it in, and then to come back over and top it with, and so there's a couple lifts, and some of them are actually quite deep, and which will need shoulders put on them after that too, so. But they're working on that, I think they're doing pretty good with North Adams. Originally, we had Lilac scheduled to try to do some, I don't know if we're gonna have the funds to do that this year, so it might get pushed to next year. More to come on that one. Let's see, for ditching, we've been ditching and deberming on Sterling Road between Ash and Cronk. It's mostly complete, we still got a little bit towards the last mile of Sterling that we need to do. We got an issue with a phone company wire that's in our way, and it kind of slowed us up a little bit, but it was basically a foot or two off the road and some places 6 inches deep, and we're like, you need to come move it. And so they finally met with him yesterday, they came out and looked at it, and he totally agreed that, yep, they shouldn't have been there, they'll move it, but they're kind of hem-hawing as to whether they want to put a temporary loop in that section that we're trying to do, or they're basically saying, cut it and we'll deal with it. So.
Which road is that on?
Sterling. So, more than likely they'll put a temporary bypass in it, and then when we're done, they acknowledge, yes, it should be at least 36 inches deep, it should be back in the back of the right of way, not right up by the road, and their contractor that put it in, they put it in right. So. Which we have a lot of that. There's tons of that around. So anyway, so they're working on that. Those should be finishing some of that up. This past week or two, they got the big cross tube on Beecher Road replaced. They replaced also the cross tube on Trip Road, which was right, next to each other. Also, the smaller tile on Beecher is done. So all that area is done with all those tubes that we had. And then they've been removing stumps on Genesee Road, and when that's done, they'll be able to do the ditch and deberm and add the gravel to that, and that Genesee will be done for that. That's one of last year's contracts.
Between what and what on Genesee Road?
Oh, you're gonna have 99 and.
I don't know the answer.
You're on the blank.
I would have to look
Then
at it.
that mile, 1 mile west of 99. We've been working on that to fix the trees out and stuff. They're just finishing up the stumps right now. Then once we get the stumps out of the way, they can dig the ditches and burn. Let's see, as far as the gravel and limestone patching that the townships have asked for, we started in Litchfield. We've gone through Litchfield, Scipio, Moscow, Somerset, and Wheatland are all done. Adams is also done, and we're starting Hillsdale today. So that's adding all the gravel and everything.
Moving right along.
As far as the scraping to come right behind them, Litchfield, Scipio, and they're on Moscow right now. And then the brine is right behind them. They've done Litchfield, and they're probably done with Scipio today. And so they're adding the gravel, they're scraping them to get them all smooth, and the brine's right behind them. And so we'll just kind of make efforts to the county to work our way through.
So at this point, as far as being the brine job done, we've got 2 townships done.
Yes.
You think we'll be all done before the July?
Probably mid-July it's looking like, barring any weather.
Right.
Let's see, we actually broke out the crack seal machine this year, that I guess we've had for 10 years and never used. So they're on Reading Road right now, South Hillsdale to Reading village limits. And we've got a whole list of places, like Lake Diane, that one crack that we Where they're gonna go seal that, and they've got a few roads that they're just gonna start.
We had the material too.
Oh yeah, we got a ton of material, so they've been at it for a while now, and
Cool.
they'll just keep going. We got all the seasonal laborers in, so they're like all the flaggers, it takes about 4 flaggers for that whole process. And so they're out there doing the traffic regulation for the chip seal, or not the chip seal, for the crack seal.
I got a question.
Hmm?
Do you know what we're doing different this year than we did last year mowing? Cause everybody, all townships said, that is a good job.
I'm seeing it too.
It's
I
different,
haven't
different
really-
mowers.
I haven't either.
Well, they are made
There's
up
a
in
I
our
know,
area.
that's what all I
Well,
hear.
you guys don't.
It depends on where they're at so far.
Yeah.
For the most part, we've got a couple that returned, but they're new guys. I mean, so.
By the way, while we're talking about mowers, how about that John Deere mower? Did that get over to Green Mark yet?
Yes, I believe so.
When I talked to Joe yesterday, it sounded like it was there.
Okay.
So they should be getting the motor
Hopefully.
overhauled.
So, yes, I think there's a couple of new people that are doing it, and we've kind of stressed a little more of what to do, how to do it, you
And
know.
what not to do.
And what not to do with the swing arm up in the trees, and, yeah, I hate that. But,
Well, I went down 99 right after he mowed, I'm assuming and I couldn't believe that job, it was excellent. Wasn't no little stubs sticking up or
Yep.
anything.
Well, and it's the same is true on the side roads, from what I have seen in numerous of them. They've done probably the best job I've seen in years.
in the past, a couple of them, I think, wanted to, for whatever reason, only put it so far down. Like, no.
Yeah.
Grind it down. So, a little bit of training, a little bit of new people,
They're doing a good job.
all everything. Alright, that kind of brings me to just,
Wait a minute, before you go there. How many seasonal laborers did we end up hiring?
originally was 13, one didn't come back after the first day. We might even have a second one now that has not come back. So,
A lot. And how many did we think we needed?
well, Kevin wanted 13, I was originally
Okay,
gonna limit that a little more, but
okay, so we wanted
I figured
13,
we'd
we
lose
got
a few.
11. All right, so
Yeah,
we're at a good number.
yeah, we'll probably be down to 10,
Okay,
but
we got what we needed then.
yes.
Okay, that's what we wanted.
Compared to last year, we only
Yes.
had the mowers.
I'll
We
always
had
get asked for more, but
Right.
you can only do so much, you know. But kind of brings me to the same thing is, even though we use them a lot for flagging, some of them are actually out there pothole patching, it's laborers.
Right.
We didn't specify what, so they can do any number of things. I'm gonna take a look at and probably put out a bid this fall or winter, to see what we can do for a contractor to mow. I would like to have a contractor where they mow, I would call it the first pass, the first 4 foot. Because most of the contractors like that use a disc bind mower, which are fairly fragile. So they don't mow around brush and they don't hit big things like that, they're grass, grass and weeds. But they can go through and do that first 4 foot and do it once or twice a year quickly. And then that lets our guys, that we still use our guys, to do that second and then the third pass with the swing arm, and it helps them beat that brush back while the grass still stays mowed. It's gonna cost a little bit, and that's not gonna get a per mile cost, but I'll be bringing that to you for the next year.
Yeah, this mower, you could probably roll along about 8-10 miles.
Oh, they
They
cruise.
could fly with them things.
So, just so you know.
I'm not gonna mow the side of the road with my disc mower. Yeah.
Truck. So as you can see, our fund balance and our money spent fund balance is going down, the money spent is going up. All the trucks that have been ordered and received are coming in all at once.
all
Of course.
So the 2 that were ordered prior to me getting here arrived from Truck and Trailer the other day, we've got them, and that's part of your,
What we paid.
they
One
gotta
of them.
sign, one of them's on there, cause they sent us 2 different invoices at different times. So those 2 came in, and those have to be paid. We, at the same time, the two that I ordered when I got here from Wolverine showed up. And so we had to pay for those cabin chassis, and that's on there.
I'd have to look to verify.
Yeah.
Then they
Sure
got
it
sent to
was.
truck and trailer, so here within, and truck and trailer's calling it like 8 weeks, which is way better than what they were saying.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So it's possible that 8 weeks, those show up and we gotta pay for those bills. And then the two, we bought the three that we got from,
Yeah, so,
Boyer Truck, we bought the one outright, so it's done. The other two leases are complete for the 6 months, we're supposed to buy them outright at that point.
Can we extend it?
Yes. So I've talked with them, and unbeknownst to me, even though they said it was a 6-month, 0 interest with 100% going to the payment, that 0 interest was because Boyer Truck paid the interest.
Okay.
Translease is the company that leased it. Sorry. And so after the 6 months, it goes from 100%, and it basically drops to like 50%, goes to the payout price. And there's a 8.75 interest on it. So basically what they said was we can keep that same payment, $11,000 a month for the 2 trucks for 60 months if we want to, because they actually did a 60-month lease on it total. We can if we want to. From talking with Katie and the staff, that we probably need to get these paid for within this calendar year. So I want to get them paid for in November so that we aren't in December trying to finish these up. So we can extend these out to November, paying the $11,000 a month, and then at the end, I think that came out to, we owe $670,000 in November to pay them off. And so unless you see an issue with that, that's what I would like to do with that. And all that's doing is kind of pushing that 600, 700,000 a little bit until we get that MTF that was originally budgeted for them. We won't see all that until the end of the year. So that's why the fund balance is down to what, 2.9? I don't like it being that low. But
So I see in June 12th date, we got 299,000 from the 2021 audit from MDOT.
Yep, I haven't got to that.
So can we put that towards the purchase of those trucks if we weren't
Yeah.
expecting that money?
Oh, we were expecting it,
Oh,
because
you
they
were.
told us 4 months ago.
Okay.
He's fired it
well,
up.
but it just goes back into our fund that we can use.
Right.
And yes, it can and will be.
But it was already accounted for in our cash flow.
Yes,
So it's not
and
extra.
we still have the 600 CD, which now is up to 645.
Right.
So if need be, we can use that to pay them off if need be. So I just wanted to kind of tell you where we stand, where all these trucks are at, and that they all seem to be finally coming in together. And at that point, our heavy equipment fleet, I think, is doing pretty good. Our truck fleet is doing a lot better. Our light fleet is where we're gonna have to, the 1-tons and pickups are what we need right now. So that'll be the next thing we look at, probably for next year. But
Is there any way to delay the new trucks coming in and or their builds to offset our cash flow issue? So that we don't have to pay that kind of interest for 6 months?
do what?
The new trucks coming in and their builds, we're paying as their invoice. Is there any way to push those off? Because they represented that they weren't gonna be here until the end of the year. Can we push off paying for those?
I doubt, most of them say you gotta have them paid within 45 days of the invoice or.
But you haven't asked the question, right? I mean, they're probably gonna tell you
Well,
no, but I would ask the question.
Do it all the time, so.
Okay.
So,
Because
no,
again,
normally they're not gonna push their bill.
Because again, they're represented that they weren't gonna be here, and for planning purpose, we didn't expect them to show up.
Well, really, the only one that's exceeded or supposed to be quicker than what they said was truck and trailers billed on the last 2.
Mhm.
They were originally saying upwards of 12 months or whatever.
Yeah.
Now they're saying they can get it in 2 to 3 months. So we'll see when they come. But that'll push that back far enough. We won't see those until
Some of them,
September,
a year
October.
and a half, I remember you
But
saying.
Somewhere a year and a half.
I'm with Kathy. Could you say to them, look, you know, when we made some decisions here in terms of buying trucks for our fleet, to update our fleet, with the anticipation that you weren't gonna be able to get to us for several months. Can we wait and pay for those after the first of the year?
Well, again, the only one that's gonna be ahead of schedule is those truck and trailer bills on the last two. And we won't even get that bill until October, November.
Okay, if that's the case, then how come we don't have the money to pay off these lease trucks?
We do, I just don't wanna, we can, I just don't wanna cut us that low.
Well, I would like to know the difference, what we're paying for that, what is it, 4 or 6 months? What's the cost to us to wait 6 months? And do we make it up in the interest, potentially?
Well, that interest is in that $11,000 payment.
I know, but if
So-
we paid off the balance today, we wouldn't pay that interest.
So basically, you'd be saving 11,000 a month for however many months.
So you're telling
Because only
me,
half of that money, it's not necessarily, the interest isn't that bad. It's only half of the payment, the principal is going towards the balance of the truck,
right, the other half is interest.
which is 11,000.
If it's not going to the principal, it's going to interest. I don't care if it's 8% or whatever they're telling you.
Okay.
If half of that payment, so you're
Well,
talking
what it comes down to is,
$5,500,
if we pay it off now,
yeah,
it's 706,000.
okay,
If we pay for 6 months, $11,000, so you're talking 66,000. Then the payoff is 671,000.
so it's gonna cost us about $33,000 to wait 6 months to pay this.
Now, do you wanna, I can look at it to
Some of them.
see how low that'll bring us, or do you wanna use the CD, which is what,
Well, and the CD earns what, 4%, 3%, 2%?
5,
it's been in five,
and
five,
about
5%.
5%.
And so 5% on $600,000 for half a year is,
15,000.
thank you. I had to get my calculator out. So to cash that out, we'd lose about half of that. So I mean, so really the cost is around $15,000. And is it imperative or necessary to do that for a cash flow? I can't answer that question, that comes from you two.
I guess I
You're getting pretty
personally,
close.
if we were gonna pay something off, I would say, let's pay one of them off and run the other one out a couple months.
All right, I like that idea.
Yeah, you're cutting your.
We're meeting halfway, I like that.
Sort of
Yeah.
hedging our bets.
Yeah, I like that. I
The
like that.
trans lease seem very happy to do whatever we wanna do. And of course, they'd be happy to lease them for
Well,
6
yeah.
months. But if we pay them off outright, that's, I mean, so you're talking 353,000.
They're just glad to get their money.
And then we can look at month to month where we
Yeah.
feel,
Yeah.
and
Okay,
I don't know how the board feels, but I'd rather not touch that CD at 5%.
Right.
That's pretty good
I mean,
income,
it's made 40,000 already.
Yeah.
Yeah.
45.
if we don't have to.
All right, so I'll look at doing that, but I just wanna let you know where we stood with all those trucks.
Yep.
I think that's all I got. What's that?
I think that was, I can't think of anything else we talked about.
Okay, so I wanna go back to the territorial road bridges.
Okay.
I was there Monday. Had to go to that part of the county to pick up some hay from an Amish guy, and I was only 3 miles from the site, so I drove down there. And I talked with one of the engineers who's on the job. And in his opinion, he thinks it's gonna be the 1st of August until they get done.
That's not what Manic Smith's telling us.
Well,
And they have a every Friday meeting.
that was one of the Manic Smith guys who told me that on Monday.
Okay.
So we'll see what happens. I mean, I was at Amboy Township last night, and they were saying, you know, tell us you're gonna open those bridges real soon. And I said, well, I think it's gonna be beyond the 1st of July, maybe closer to the 1st of August. That's what
I hope not, but.
Yeah, well, we all do. You know, and the people that normally use that road, we all hope that it can be before then. So not only do they have the bridge work to do, but there's work to do to rebuild the road, because they had to widen the road, and they're gonna have to repave it.